do us this favor. Thank you. So this year's synod is aimed at galvanizing our bishops and archbishops across the country and even apostles. We want to bring them together, and we want to sensitize them all the more. We want to chart a common course. We want to be able to talk to them and give a sense of direction. And we do have our sense of direction already. We are proud to be associated with the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We believe in this government. We believe in the renewed hope agenda, and we believe he is taking the right steps. And we believe is that if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is being supported, he will achieve much more. We are proud of his person, we are proud of his team, and we believe that this team will take us to the promised land in Nigeria. So in case you're wondering, what are we going to be saying at the synod? What would we be telling all the about 600 bishops that will be coming around? Moreover, Charismatic Bishops Conference of Nigeria has about 906 bishops right now and counting in every state of the Federation. And we are in about 36 countries already. 36 countries, across Europe, and we also in Asia, in America, and we are in every country in Africa. Every country in Africa. So we are a body that believes that we should be organized, we should be regimented, and we must work together. We must work together to support good governance. We must work together to support that which we believe in. So we're going to be doing that during the synod. We're going to be praying for Nigeria. In our last synod, we went to the Unity Fountain and we prayed for Nigeria. And we believe that God heard our prayers. And from that time, you'd realize we were one of the first bodies to call for NLC to quit this, this tide of, strikes, striking and shutting down the country. And we made it abundantly clear that each time you shut the country down, Nigeria loses billions. And that's not helping us because we're trying to recover from setbacks. And you don't recover from setbacks by, losing more and more and more. So we call on other organizations, we're calling on them, and we're still going to do that, to ask them, to make sure that this government is being supported so that we'll have a better future in Nigeria. Nigeria is a work in progress.
Nigeria. I want to begin by saying that it is a known fact that Mr. President is committed to delivering on good governance and promise that he has made to the Nigerian people. And the promise is to ensure that the Nigerian people's hope in the Nigerian project is renewed and that they in fact move from renewed hope to a much better life where people can have a testimony to say about the country that we live in. Government also recognizes that in the course of executing the agenda of government, there will be feedback from Nigerians. Mr. President, as a father, is well aware of the things happening in the country because he's someone who pays attention to every detail. This is what all of us who serve him can attest to. He pays attention to detail. He is careful and he is committed. And so I want to start by maybe making it clear that the Charismatic Bishops Conference is different from the Catholic Bishops Conference. And Mr. President, your sister group, the Catholic Bishop, Mr. President, received the invitation of the papacy to attend the inauguration of His Holiness. And he's leading a delegation of some Catholic bishops on that trip, hopefully tomorrow. And this is because the Pope passionately requested the presence of Mr. President. We issued a statement yesterday stating the background. And then this morning I woke up, then I saw from one of the newspapers, they said that the president is going to Italy with a bragging right of having over 60% of appointment people who are from the Christian extraction. Now, while for the optics of what they say, the president doesn't look at appointment or governance on the basis of religious bias, he doesn't look at it on the basis of tribal bias, he doesn't count to say this number over this. He believes that equity should be delivered, where the Nigerian people will have hope in the country that they belong to. And so there are two things that has marked the administration of Mr. President. And in the coming days, our plan as we mark the second anniversary will be to communicate to the Nigerian people. We've been doing that, but in the coming days, we will lay them out one by one as the scorecard of Mr. President's effort in this regard. Thankfully, your conference appreciates and very profoundly itemize the things that you consider as the progress that we've made as a government. This is very impressive that you have paid attention to some of the things that this administration is doing. The decision that the president took, which at the beginning was tough, just as you rightly said, it characterizes the character of the president. And he applies the same principle in dealing with insecurity, which is why I want to allay your fears that on this matter of insecurity in the country, we will nip it. We will nip it in the bud. Mr. President, on all of Mr. President's trip around this country, whenever he appears in that town, the first thing Mr. President does is to charge the armed forces and the security personnel in those states and make his directive clear. We give no room or tolerance to any form of evil. The perspective with which Mr. President looks at insecurity is not colored by the prism of religion. Every crime is a crime irrespective of who commits it. And Mr. President has made clear to all the security forces to deal decisively with any and every form of criminal activity. And as a people, we know that the crimes that are committed in this country are multifaceted. You have banditry, you have terrorism, you have insurgency, you have kidnapping, you have domestic violence. All forms of crime are treated as crime by Mr. President. Mr. President, too, has engaged and has been engaging with state governors because the security of life and welfare of the people, as referenced in the Constitution, who says is the responsibility of government, the government there connotes the federal government, the state government, and the local government. And because we recognize that, Mr. President has consistently engaged with the governors in areas he will need to help them, and in the areas he can offer his own advice on how the state governors can probably implement some of this advice for the purposes of dealing with insecurity. Very recently, Mr. President talked about his engagement with the governor of Plateau. He has had a meeting with the governor of Benue, and he has had a meeting with the governor of Zamfara. He's having a meeting with all of these governors and expressing his determination to support them in whatever way he can. Also urging the governors at their own level to do what they need to do to deal with the root causes, because if you don't deal with the root causes, then whatever you deal with today comes back again. You deal with today comes back again. But when you deal with the root causes of this insecurity, you can have a better country. I have a difficult answer to a question you asked, my Lord. Is it possible that there will be no insecurity in Nigeria? Very sadly, the answer is no. The reason is because as pastors and as ministers of the gospel, you know that you have been called to preach and save people to the kingdom. The more people you save, the more people you need to save again. The more demons you cast, the more spirits you need to cast. This is exactly the way insecurity is. All over the world, whether in America, there is no country of the world where they've dealt 100% with insecurity. because it keeps manifesting itself. But the duty of government is to ensure that the citizens of that country, they have a secured life to pursue their dreams and goals. And that is what the president is committed to. And with the help of pastors and bishops, praying for the government and playing your part, just like the way you express your concern about issues, it helps the government to know the feelings of the people so the government can double its effort in the fight against any form of insecurity. So this will be my immediate response. And then you talked about broad-based national consensus. Now, dealing with insecurity, in my view, it is not just the job of the federal government. Because the world over, the countries that have been able to deal to a large extent with insecurity, they are oftentimes the countries that have generated a national consensus, meaning that all of us have agreed that evil is evil. All of us have agreed that crime is crime. Nobody is shielding one, nobody is hiding the other, and nobody is playing politics with insecurity. So this is the perspective with which government looks at things. And I want to, on behalf of the president, assure my lords, your grace and your lordships, that Mr. President will continue to double his effort in this fight against insecurity. And our drive for the economy. We do not want to bore you, but we have seen the result and the fruit of those decisions that the president took when he took the oath of office. Because when he came to the presidency, there were limited resources. In fact, little or no resources on ground. The states, 27 states, could not pay salaries because they had limitations of resources. Our schools, everyday strike. The youth corps members suffer in every city. The students have the problem of paying their school fees. And there are many other areas in which our people were badly impacted. But that decision of Mr. President, today we can talk about NELFON, which you rightly said, my lord, how people can access funds to pursue their education. The corpers, there's an increment in their pay. The minimum wage, strike has reduced. You don't hear them talk about strike again because we're able to have a conversation with them on how to deal with this. States of the Federation were able to get revenue because of the increased allocation arising from the removal of subsidy. They can pay salaries, they can do projects. It's going all over the country, commissioning projects of states that are led by any governor from any of the political party, because he's a president for all and he's not a president for one political party. Now, lastly, with the issue with respect to the National Assembly, I would only say this, that we recognize the independence of the various organs of government. That is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And the president respects that. If you have seen his demeanor, you've seen his conduct in the way he relates, he recognized this. And we want to keep ourselves within the bounds of our authority as provided by the Constitution. So, if you permit me to be a bit informal, I will say, my lord, that this is not actually the venue to discuss National Assembly. They have a big hall, they have a good place that communications can be made to them. But I know that the Nigerian people will be excited about your concern for peace in the legislature and progress in Nigeria. So I want to thank you, and I accept the invitation to come and speak on Christians in politics, or Christians and politics, on the subject. I think the subject is good because we need every Nigerian, Muslim, Christian, any religion, to participate in politics, in deciding who is your leader, in deciding how you want the government to govern Nigeria. And so when a privilege like that comes, we will go and communicate our understanding of that. Regarding your letter, I will forward the letter to my boss, our principal. And I want to extend the best wishes of Mr. President to you. You are citizens, first citizens of the country, and then leaders and fathers of faith. And we recognize that and we respect that. So finally, I want to thank you most profoundly for coming today. And we believe that in the coming days, there will be more engagement for the good of all of us. Thank you very much.
And that's a positive commitment from the SK policy communication.
Thank you so much. So having said that, thank you very much. Thank you for and Bishop Samuel Eduvere, Reverend, and Bishop Alexander Nyonke. He is the overseer. Usually,